afternoon. My name is Remy Allen. The West African Senior School Certificate Examination (WASC) has been slated for May 8 through June 23. Head of National Office WAEC, Mr. Patrick Aregon, at a pre-examination briefing in Lagos, that said that 1,621,853 candidates across 20,851 government and private schools registered for the examination. He said for the second time in succession, the examination body has reverted to May-June period for the conduct of the examination, noting that the West African Examination Council (WAEC) and the various member states, with the exception of Ghana, have now found common ground in respect of their academic calendars. He added that about 30,000 practicing senior secondary school teachers nominated by the various state ministries of education would be participating in the examination as supervisors. The International Human Rights Commission (IHRC) has joined those pleading for former Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu and his wife Beatrice. It appealed to the government of the United Kingdom for leniency in the sentencing of the duo alongside their doctor, Dr. Obinna Obeta. The trial were found guilty by Justice Jeremy Johnson's Central Criminal Court, Old Bailey, London, and convicted in March under the Modern Slavery Act of the United Kingdom. Meanwhile, Ekweremadu, his wife, and Obeta would know their fate today when they face the jury for sentencing. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo, the two chambers of the National Assembly, and the ECOWAS Parliament have asked the UK government and Parliament to plead with the court to temper justice with mercy. A federal high court in Abuja has adjourned trial of Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board (JAMB) former registrar, Professor Dibu Ojerinde, till June 30. Justice Obiora Egwatu adjourned the matter to enable independent corrupt practices and other related matters. Offense Commission (ICPC) tidy its house and call other witnesses. ICPC's lawyer Ebenezer Shogunle had brought an oral application for adjournment. Ojerinde's lawyer Eteya Ogana told the court a motion was filed challenging rearrest of his client and seeking an order for his release, alleging his client was rearrested by ICPC without warrant. But the judge could not find the process in the court record. ICPC on July 8, 2021 arraigned Ojerinde on 18-count charge of diversion of 5 million naira, allegedly committing the offense during his tenure as the Registrar of National Examination Councils (NECO) and JAMB. The leadership of the All Progressives Congress (APC) Southeast Zone said it has suspended some members of the party in Abia and Enugu states over alleged anti-party activities. The party's executives in the zone took the decision after its meeting in Owerri, Imo State, following agreement on the need to enforce discipline among members to strengthen the party in the zone. The party's executives in the zone said the suspension of the members was approved by the state executives. Members suspended in the Abia APC were Orji Kalu, Uche Oga, Nkechi Nwogun, Paul Ikone, Sam Onuigbo, Chris Akoma, Anyim Inyerere, Sam Nkeire, Chief Ofo Okorie, Nze Esiaga, Onye D. Brightman, Azuibike Uda, Stanley Ohajuruka, and Solomon Okoigbuo. Those suspended in Enugu State were Ken Nnamani, Geoffrey Onyema, Sullivan Chime, Eugene Odo, Osita Okechukwu, Joe Mamelu, Flavor Eze, Ben Woye, AC Ude, Obodoeze Ocho, Chukwudi Igwe, Kingsley Udeji, Joe Orji, and Chidera Obed. Staff of the Osrc Media Group have undergone their 2023 promotion exercise with the charge to remain professionals in the discharge of their duties. Chairman of the Osrc Media Group, Mr. Kunle Adebayo, during the promotion exercise, commended Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu for always prioritizing the welfare of workers in the state. Osrc's Zaid Aribisala has detail.
Since the flag off of the 2023 promotion exercise by Ondo State Head of Service Kayode Ogundele, staff of ministries, departments and agencies of government have been subjected to routine performance appraisal.
We give you empty file, so you arrange your certificate.
Now it's the turn of the Osrc Media Group as officers who are saddled with the responsibility of bridging the information between government and the people during the day and night across various departments go through the process. The boardroom of the headquarters of the Osrc Media Group played host to members of the top management, directors of departments, as well as external observers from Civil Service Commission, Office of Establishment and Training, and Service Matters, who were led by the head of service, represented by Mr. Adu Olatunbosun. The chairman, Osrc Media Group, Mr. Kunle Adebayo, appreciated Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu for always prioritizing progress and development of the state workforce. Adebayo also commended the state head of service for ensuring smooth promotion of staff.
I wish to use this opportunity to thank the Governor of Ondo State, Arakuni Oluwarotimi Akeredolu SAN, for his magnanimity every year to give approval that this process should take place, and also for the approval of all the recommended staff. This has been happening in the last 6 years. We wish to express our gratitude to him, because it's one thing for people to be due for promotion. It's one thing for them to be found appointable for the next position.
The individuals due for promotion from departments of finance and administration, news and current affairs, and programs took turns for the closed doors promotion interview. Officers from departments of engineering as well as marketing and sales were not left out.
This time it went well, and they graded us on our performance, the activities, the programs we've been doing.
It was fantastic, very beautiful, and we thank God that the Lord has taken absolute control.
You know, I feeling that we have to give all glory to God Almighty. I'm particularly happy and elated, and I also really appreciate, the government of Ondo State for this, opportunity, because it's not easy for somebody to actually start his career, from the scratch, and now you are rising to a directorate cadre, and it shows that, a lot of hard work has been put into this.
They asked us our normal duty and they appraised us.
For some of the personnel, the 2023 promotion exercise is their first, and the experience, they say, is a testament that diligence and commitment to work counts.
Well, it was a very fulfilling one. I felt encouraged to push and work harder in my various endeavors for the corporation.
There's also a place of growing in the cadre. There's also a place of growing in what you can achieve being a public servant, and that is what we are seeing today.
The interview process is also effective because based on what we are doing on our field, our profession, after 3 years of experience and effective job. So definitely for me to be promoted, I'm so glad, and I thank the management team for organizing this.
And I believe it's a time for us to do more. Like this Oliver Twist, which always say ask for more. We need to do more as journalists, and this promotional exercise will also encourage us to put in our best to ensure and contribute our quota for the success of the corporation.
The promotion exercise has come and gone, and it is expected that the gesture would spur them to do more in delivering quality news and program contents for the people of Ondo State. Sahid Aribisala, Osrc News.
The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has called for an end to the fighting in Sudan. He warns that the violence is creating a humanitarian catastrophe. Zaid Aribisala again reports.
After weeks of being stranded and caught up in the fighting in Sudan, these Nigerian citizens have finally made it home. Most of them are students. They were evacuated by military plane overnight to Abuja. They are relieved to have escaped the violence.
I'm just hearing gunshots, which was very scary. It even shakes the houses. The vibration, you're hearing gunshots, you're hearing these missiles. It was very scary, it was traumatic.
Others say they had to wait at the Egypt-Sudan border for days with no option but to sleep on the streets until help arrived.
We face a lot of challenges and I don't want my enemies to experience what we saw, not to talk of our loved ones.
They joined hundreds of thousands of others trying to flee Sudan after the fighting began between the army and the powerful rapid support forces. Instability is pushing more families to leave their homes. Dozens of buses are lining up every day with evacuees looking to cross into Egypt by ferry, and drivers are risking their lives trying to get people to safety. Each long journey involves hours of waiting in crowded and hot conditions.
People
there are tired. They are sleeping on the streets, in the mosques and in schools in Wadi Halfa. We get them to ride the microbus and leave early in the morning like 7 a.m. We leave from the Sudanese border where they get their travel procedures done, and this takes time.
Aid groups, including the UN, are urging Sudan's warring factions to guarantee safe passage of much-needed relief supplies. Hospitals are at breaking point, and there is a severe shortage of basic necessities. The conflict is worsening an already dire humanitarian situation, with tens of thousands of refugees arriving in neighboring countries like Chad. For people who have left Sudan, it is a moment of relief, but for those still caught up in the middle, it is a desperate situation that is getting worse by the day. Sahira Aribisala, Osrc News.
The Israeli army has killed at least 3 Palestinian fighters and wounded 4 others while firing live ammunition during a raid in Nablus in the northern occupied West Bank. The Israeli army and intelligence services said in a statement that the men were behind an attack on April 7 north of Jericho that killed 2 British Israeli sisters and their mother when gunmen opened fire on their vehicle. Odraya Sawyer reports.
As soon as the Israeli army leaves Nablus, Palestinians start counting their dead. A scene that is becoming all too familiar in the occupied West Bank. This time, 3 people were killed in nearly 2 hours of confrontations between Palestinian fighters and hundreds of Israeli soldiers.
I woke up by 7 in the morning and all of a sudden we heard the explosion. I was petrified. I could not move an inch. The window glass shattered all over the house. As a result of the explosion, my children and I were forced to the ground.
During the raid, Israeli forces prevented medical crews from entering the city to treat several people wounded by live ammunition and school children who had inhaled tear gas.
Ibrahim was our neighbor. He was in pieces and burnt. The rest were shot in the head. It was chilling. It was hard to identify them.
Israeli forces have been focusing their raids in Nablus and Jenin, where Palestinian resistance groups have been working together to carry out reprisal attacks. More than 30 Palestinians have been killed in Nablus since the beginning of the year, according to official figures. What has been relatively calm here in the past months, now there are chants of defiance and threats of retaliation. The Israeli army says the Palestinians targeted in Thursday's raid were responsible for last month's drive-by shooting in the Jordan Valley. 3 settlers were killed, a woman and her 2 daughters. They were identified as dual British-Israeli citizens. The attack follows efforts by the United States, Egypt and Jordan to de-escalate tensions. Hamas has described the three fighters as heroes and called for more attacks against Israel.
The Palestinian Authority, they tested the political choice for a long time, for more than 25 years, but they got big zero. So I think this is the only language that the occupation understands.
In a separate incident, Israeli forces killed a 26-year-old woman at a checkpoint near Nablus. They say she stabbed a soldier. In recent weeks, there have been reports of members of armed groups handing themselves over to the Palestinian Authority. People in Nablus say even if some fighters have laid down their weapons, others will pick them up. Aduayo Sawyer, Osrc News.
Meanwhile, Rabbi Leodi, the father and husband of the British-Israeli victims, said he was comforted by the news the men had been eliminated.
Body in the Western world can effectively sleep safer in their beds tonight. Therefore, the Israeli army has done tremendous kindness to the world by taking out two people who could theoretically go and bomb New York, London, Paris, Tel Aviv, and kill many more innocent civilians. They found it very emotional. What I found very emotional was that the lady who received the heart was referred to as Lital, but when she met me, she said, by the way, my name is actually Rina Lital. And I found that very powerful. And the mother of the boy who received the liver told me, my name is Maya. So we had a Maya and we had a Rina in the room, and there we were with Lucy's organs living in these people's bodies. It was just crazy and, I don't know, a complete mixture of emotions.
The former leader of the far-right Proud Boys group, Enrique Tarrio, and three other deputies have been found guilty of seditious conspiracy in an alleged plot to attack the United States Capitol on January 6, 2021 and prevent a peaceful transfer of power. A jury in Washington, D.C. delivered the guilty verdict against Tarrio, Ethan Norden, Joseph Biggs, and Zachary Rehl. Millions of people across the UK and beyond are preparing to celebrate the coronation of King Charles. It is being held at Westminster Abbey, and the King, who will be crowned along with Camilla, the Queen Consort, will be the fourth yet reigning monarch crowned there since 1066. The day of splendor and formality will feature customs dating back home than 1,000 years. Members of the public and visitors to the UK have already started camping out, waiting to be among the first to see the King's procession. Olumide Adeluwoye reports.
Westminster Abbey, home to 39 coronations, 16 royal weddings, and soon the crowning of King Charles III, a celebration 70 years in the making.
Well, there's been an extraordinary amount of preparation going into creating this very spectacular event. The King's desire for a more slimmed-down affair is going to be very evident on the day, although it will still be full of pomp and pageantry.
Royal enthusiasts are buzzing with excitement, ready to put the King in the United Kingdom.
I just think it's just marking history and just lots of things going on, people being together. Bank holiday weekends always help. So yeah, it's just been nice.
We're going to have a coronation party.
With lots of drink.
Very pleased to be here and to be witnessing however I managed to do it.
On Saturday, The King and Queen Consort will take the Diamond Jubilee state coach and travel from Buckingham Palace along the royal route to Westminster Abbey in what is known as a King's Procession. Viewing spots will be in high demand along the 2.1-kilometer path.
We're expecting to see huge influx of people for the coronation itself and around that long weekend. But I think we'll also see a few ordinary citizens who are curious. People understand that this is a moment in history.
The crowning of a sovereign is one of the most ancient ceremonies in history, with 6 key traditions to be followed. First, the king will be presented by the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Wilby. He will ask the congregation to show their recognition by shouting, "God save King Charles." Next is the oath, where King Charles will make a series of promises to reign, swearing to uphold the law and the Church of England. Charles will then be anointed, blessed and consecrated by the Archbishop while sitting in the coronation chair. The fourth step is to receive the orb and scepters, and St. Edward's crown will be placed on his head. The king will then go to his throne, where finally senior officials will pay homage to the newly crowned monarch.
I think the king is very sensitive to modern optics. He understands that this should represent not just him as monarch, but also it's putting Britain on the world stage, and he wants his coronation to be reflective of Britain as it is to.
Camilla will also be crowned at the Westminster Abbey as Queen Consort in a similar but much simpler ceremony. It is the first double coronation since 1937, when King George VI and Queen Elizabeth were both crowned. But the ceremonies start just a 3-day extravaganza. Coronation big lunches will also be held on Sunday, with everyone invited to get together with their neighborhood, and locations across the UK will light up the night with projections, lasers and drone displays planned. There is an extra public holiday in the diary for Monday, with pubs and clubs open late, and the National Day of Volunteering billed is the big help out.
Whether or not you subscribe to the idea of monarchy, this is going to be a spectacle that Britain puts on in a way that nowhere else really does, and I think people will be curious. For most of us it's going to be a once-in-a-lifetime so far moment.
Odunayo Sawyer, Osrc News.
The report was done by Odunayo Sawyer, and with that we end Word at Noon. Thanks so much for watching. Good afternoon.